Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today's video is a 2-for-1 deal. We're going to be going over a Tacoma that I think is the coolest version of the Tacoma, and then we're also going to talk about how there are some discounts to be had on the new Tacoma. So if you want a great deal on a new Tacoma, reach out to Larry H. Miller, Toyota here in Murray. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Josh. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbo 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed. This is the standard version, so fuel economy is 19 around town and then 23 on the highway, and then power outputs are 278 horsepower and then 317 pound-feet of torque. Before I move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, I've already reviewed several of the new Tacomas, so I'm not going to go over every single option, but I do want to show you guys a few cool things about this particular packaged truck. So first off, it's the Tier D off-road. You can see we've got fog lights with this. You've got a better approach angle because of how they've sculpted the front end, and then obviously you don't have that big air dam like on the other Tacomas, so it just looks better. Now, the Tier D off-road also comes with this unpainted fender flare setup, which I think looks really good on the Tacoma. I think it looks better than the painted on the Tier D Pro. That's just my take. And then you've got these bigger tires. Obviously these aren't the most aggressive all-terrain tires, but you know, that's one of the easiest modifications to make on a vehicle is switching to more aggressive tires. And then the Tier D off-road does come with Bilstein shocks, which is always a nice thing. And the stance on it's really good. Like, you know, front to rear, it looks great if you ask me. Now, with the Tier D off-road, you can still get a long bed, and that's the thing I think is really cool about this particular truck, or one of the things, rather, is that it has the long bed configuration. So it's a 6-foot bed, which, yeah, it's big for a mid-sized pickup truck. You've got lights. This has protection already from the factory as well. And you can't get this on, you know, a Tier D Pro, for example. So this has the off-road stuff, but then it also has the added practicality of, well, more bed space, which is really cool. And then the interior on this truck I think is really great as well, and that's because it's the baseline interior, so you do get some like nice soft touch, and this is interesting how they brought the white inside. But yeah, cloth seats, and they are heated with this particular truck. And the new Tacoma does come with quite a bit of standard nowadays. I mean, look at this. You've got this big fancy digital gauge cluster. You've got a modern infotainment system with it as well, and you can see the heated seats, single zone climate, but also being a Tier D off-road, you can see we've got the multi-terrain select crawl control, and we've got the rear locking differential, as well as a 2-speed transfer case with it. So it has all the stuff, and of course the Tier D stop start button. That's one of the most important things, and I actually like the contrast there on the dash, which is pretty cool if you ask me. But yeah, this is basically everything you need and nothing you don't. And this leads us to the pricing on this particular package. So you can see there's not a lot added to it. Basically the bed liner and the heated seats, mud guards, I guess the connected services as well. But $46,600 is the total MSRP. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there are some discounts to be had on these Tacomas now. Now it's going to vary package to package. Like, you know, Tier D Pros, for example, those aren't going to have discounts anytime soon because they're going to be sold out for quite some time. But yeah, some of the other packages on the Tacoma, especially like the SR5, for example, yeah, those are definitely getting discounted at this point. So it makes, you know, something like this that's already, you know, mid-40s, could potentially be even less. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. We'll take it out for a little spin and sum things up. Well, just noticed fuel low, so I guess we can't go far with this little drive, but you know, we'll do what we can to talk about the Tacoma stuff. And I wasn't sure what truck to use for this video because, again, you know, like the SR5s and stuff are gonna have the biggest discount, so that would, I guess, be the best one to do for a discounted Tacoma video. But I thought this was a cool package. I haven't done a video with one of these, and so I figured it would be cool to show Tier D off-road entry level with even manual seats. But yeah, with the long bed, this is kind of not going to be a super common spec. Most people are going to get Tier D off-roads with the shorter beds, but there are people that live in rural areas that love these off-road package trucks with long beds. And you know, I kind of fit in that category myself. But if you're not familiar with the new Tacoma, the new turbocharged engine, it's got really good power, especially when you compare it to the previous gen, right? Same horsepower, but then more torque, and it's turbocharged, so you have less power loss at elevation. And so it's just a good deal overall when it comes to power. And then it's better with fuel economy too. Look at this. Monster. So much torque. That's the thing you notice about this truck, is it's just all about the torque. It's really impressive. And it's smooth too. The 8-speed automatic transmission does a really good job with keeping it in the power band. Gear shifts are smooth. It's just a good setup overall. So that leads us into talking about the deals on these Tacomas, and I think it just comes down to a few things. I have to mention this in every single video, and people argue with me on this, but you know, I'll still mention it. The economy, not in the best position. All right, it's so funny because of the, you know, supposed great economic figures that are coming out. People say, oh, the economy's great, but then I know with my job, I meet a lot of just average people, right? I mean, obviously outliers, right? You're always going to meet outliers, but I meet just like your average Joe every single day, and I talk to people, about how they feel about the economy. And the thing that I get from even people that are outliers when it comes to, you know, income in the good way, right? They make more than the average person. Even those people are like, yeah, this sucks. So I don't care what the figures say, because I think the figures could be fixed, could be. Real people don't think things are going great. So the whole reason why I'm bringing that up is I think that could be dampening sales with just any vehicle, right? Whenever the economy's not doing good, sales slow down. So that's the first thing. The next thing is the Tundras. I don't want to dive too deep in the situation, but you know, with the Tundras and the Lexus LX and the LS, there's a recall of 100,000 vehicles so far because of machining fragments being left in the engine causes the truck to throw a bearing, and then boom, engine failure. So Toyota's going through kind of a little bit of a reputation problem right now because of what's happening with the twin turbo V6. And then if you do read on Tacoma forums, there have been anecdotes of people having transmission failures, some engine failures with this new Tacoma. Now, you know, obviously you always have to take forum stuff with a grain of salt, because people generally don't post on forums if they're having a good time with a vehicle, generally speaking. Some people do. Most of the time they post because something went wrong. So it always makes it look like the world's on fire when you read these forum posts about any vehicle. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a Toyota or a Range Rover or anything. You're always going to look and see that the world's probably lit on fire, when reality is, you know, usually not as bad. But with that being said, there could potentially be some stuff with this. We'll see if there ends up being another major, you know, recall from Toyota. But yeah, I think that right now Toyota, it's not bad, but I do think that Toyota is going through some stuff right now because of the Tundra situation. And I think that, again, Toyota has this, you know, it is the reliable brand, so like they have the furthest to fall reputation wise. And so I think that they're under a lot of scrutiny from people because of what's happened with the Tundra. But you know, obviously they're working on it. If they weren't working on it, they wouldn't have a recall, right? They obviously put out that recall to say, hey, this is a problem. We're working to fix the problem. But again, other vehicles that aren't affected by that, obviously, like this doesn't have the same engine as the Tundra. I still think it kind of bleeds over. So I think that there's just kind of, I don't know, at least in what I see online, there's a lot of Toyota hate right now. And so I think that Toyota hate is potentially leading to fewer sales on top of what's happening economically. And then you look at the car market, interest rates are still really high on both new and used cars. And so I think you pair that, so it's like things aren't great economically. Toyota is going through a little bit of a kerfuffle right now, a little bit. And then interest rates are high, and so it's like, all of that's going to put some downward pressure. So I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense that things have slowed down. And then I guess the last thing that I'll mention with this is the mid-size pickup truck segment is the most competitive that it has ever been. Full stop. It has never had as many options in the past as it does today. And then on top of options, it's never had as many solid options. You know, just in this segment right here, Jeep Gladiator with the Willys would compete against the Tier D off-road. You've got the Pro 4X with the Nissan Frontier. Colorado, you could, I mean, at this price point, frankly, it'd still be Z71 Trail Boss would be at this price point. And then GMC Canyon, you can actually get an AT4, yeah, at this price point as well, 47 grand for more entry level. And, you know, Honda's actually been doing really well in this segment with the Ridgeline, even though a lot of people don't consider that a truck. Well, it still exists. You got the Trail Sport. So I can keep going on and on. You guys get the point. There's a lot of mid-size pickup trucks. There's a lot of good packages at this price point. And so there's more competition for the Tacoma than there has ever been. So I think that's also kind of, you know, bleeding into stuff, is that a lot of manufacturers have jumped into the mid-size pickup truck game and jumped in strong. The strongest that I think we've ever seen. So that's all.